Hi, my name is Ian McCullough, and I'm going to show you an example of trying to track back a method in the biology literature. And I know this one happened because I did it. So this is a paper that I was credited as a middle author on, and I'm right there, Architecture of the Potiviruses, and this was when I was in the Stubbs lab at Vanderbilt University. But going to the paper, the part of this that I wrote was in the methods section. And so I'm going to scroll down to methods to show you exactly the problem, which is something that you might encounter. We talk about how all of this was grown and infected, but right here, how do you get the virus out of the plant? And what we're doing in this paper is looking at the structure of plant viruses. So you need plant virus to shoot an X-ray through it to determine its structure. How do you get that virus in a purified form? Well, this is the purification procedure, and this is what I did in the lab. And it says we used Stenger and French and replacing the cesium chloride gradient centrifugation with second sucrose gradient. Okay, so this is important, but the point being that you could never ever recreate this experiment from this information, so you have to go to Stenger and French. And here it is. So I'm going to go to Google Scholar just so you don't get wrapped up in the Elsevier area here, but this is the paper that we're talking about, complete nucleotide sequence of oat necrotic model virus. So let's go to Full Text at Wooster, Google Scholar, and hey, look at that, Full Text Online and Archives of Virology. And let's look at the PDF full text. Okay, so I'm blow this up a little bit, but here's the paper. We're going to use the old control. The method is unfortunately, so this is briefly what they did, but we still don't actually know the full measure of what they did. So I'm going to have to go to Schubert and Rabenstein. I do remember that I used 2% Triton in this, so I know that that's part of it. But the exact centrifugations, the sucrose pad, the density gradients, these are all things that may have changed. So I'm going to go down to the record down here, and here's our friend Schubert and Rabenstein. So let's check that out. European Journal of Plant Pathology. And we'll go back to our good friend Google Scholar. There we go. Is this at Wooster? Okay, pulling for you, Wooster. All right, full text online. That's great. And our friend, the PDF full text. Okay, so here we are. This is a few steps back right now. Okay, so materials and method. Okay, virus purification. Here we go. Unfortunately, once again, we have to go back even further. All of the purification steps followed mainly the method described by Huth, except the carbon tetrachloride was substituted by 3% Triton X. Okay, so we're going to look up Huth from 1984. If you're like me at this point, you're probably, like, if you're thinking about where I was, this is a somewhat ridiculous process, is going back into this and trying to find all this stuff. But barley yellow mosaic virus purification electron spectroscopy. So let's go back to, once again, our good friend, Google Scholar. And Google Scholar is excellent at finding a specific article if you know the full title. That's why I keep using it, because it's very easy and unclunky. Oh boy, this doesn't look good. Full text at Wooster. Let's find out. Oh no, that's not there, but I actually don't believe you, College of Wooster. That's a pretty big one. So we're going to go to the library. Let's actually try this whole thing in Summon. And there it is. Okay, so the journal article, full text online, the deal here is that Google Scholar was reporting this as being part of the Journal of Phytopathology. Another name for the Journal of Phytopathology is Phytopathologische Zeitschrift. So this paper did exist, it just didn't exist in a way that Google Scholar could see our holdings. So it's important that you not just believe Google Scholar every single time, especially as you get to older stuff, and this is a 35-year-old paper. The reason I like this particular example from Huth is that Huth was so incredibly excited about their method of purifying virus from a plant that not only they didn't just write it down. No, 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 that's certainly not enough. What they did is, I believe they put it in a purification protocol in a table. This isn't necessarily going to be found in a keyword search, but this is the step-by-step method. The point of all this being that if you're going to be a working biologist and you are asked by your boss to recreate something or to modify a method sections are often very difficult to read and fraught with confusing notation and incomplete descriptions. This purification protocol clarified a lot of things for me, and it allowed me to adapt, modify, and create a new purification protocol that worked, I believe, 2 orders of magnitude better than what we had been using before, simply by going into the literature, looking at things that existed in the past. And this actually is what allowed all of the structural characterization that you saw in this paper. All of these pictures can't be taken if you don't have purified virus, so getting that virus was actually the major bottleneck of this project. I thank you for following along with me, hopefully understanding the importance of being able to track back in the literature, read sections, identify references, and then look them up. Thank you.